No, my grandma just texted me that she found a 2-bedroom for me and her, finally.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Senior living.
Good. It's all right. It's gonna work itself out the way it's gonna work itself out. But I want you to hear this because it took me a good minute to sit with the stability thing that this girl said. I'm just like, in my mind, I'm just like, how did you arrive to this conclusion of stability? Until this very day, I didn't ask any deeper than that. I sat with it and I realized, Stephen, I'm gonna tell you this is one of the most profound insight of your life. Is that in life, it is everything else but stability and security. The two things that people are always chasing after is stability and security, which is never a guarantee. And the Buddha taught that life is ever changing, that it is subject to change, constant flux of everything. It's literally like looking at this lake right here and expect this lake to be stable. How? It's no different than anyone else's life to have that expectation. It's like, I want my life to be a lake that is unmoving. It can't be. Because what if the birds, if a flock of birds fly through here and land on the water and causes a ripple effect, it's no longer stable. It can't be what you really want it to be. The moral of the story is that you should never look for stability. You can only try your best to create the causes and conditions for stability, as stable as it's ever get, but always keep in mind that things can change, about jobs changing, getting fired, plan A, plan B. This is why during our meditation I say that I will exercise intelligence and wisdom, and that's part of it. That's part of it, is moving life around and stuff like that. Now when the nature, when you reflect on the nature of my job as an interpreter, right? It's everything but stability. Cases come, cases go, or sometimes no cases. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
And you realize when they come and when they don't come. You're the first one to know. And you see how not stable it is. Do I look stressed for all these years?
I don't know.
Right? Do I look stressed when it comes and when it don't come? We remember the flea market thing?
Mm-hmm.
Was I stressed one bit? Did I ever call you and said, yeah, you know what, this operation is not going well, and I am really concerned about it, and I'm stressing over it? You see me stressing over it?
No, never.
Right. So my point is, readjust the way how you see things. And what does it mean to be stable? What does it mean to have stability? Because in this life, it's everything but stable. And you know what, Stephen? As I'm writing my book and I'm reflecting on society, it's everything but stable. Economy, gas prices, housing markets. Look at St. Pete here alone with the housing situation. You see that? Every day when you're checking stocks and bond on your phone, it's everything but what?
It's stable.
Yeah. So for you, and this is why people are so stressed out, because it's like, why can't I have what I want? And what I want is stability.
But you can have that.
It's impossible. No one can ever make the argument that it's going to be stable and it's going to be secured. And it's funny, like some people make that as a selling point to like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
they do.
it is secure and it will always be stable. Really. Now that is a liar, right?
That is.
Ah. So anyways, I just want you to just sit with that when you're in the car. Sit about the definition of stability and what it really truly means to be that. And how you live your life is, this is the way how you think, right? You change the way how you think, you change the way how you feel. And if you think that life is gonna be stable and all these things that you are expecting to step towards the howling wind, it's not. Oh, and by the way, Stephen, you missed out on being here when the 3 gals were up on the 4th floor. One of the gal, her grandmother raised her. Matter of fact, the funeral is this Saturday. We may go to it. I told her I was going to be there, but I don't have the funeral information. But look this way. Look, direct attention. Is that the gal says, my grandmother raised me, and she just passed away. I asked, how old was she? And she said 94. And she was just broken about it. Yeah, so she's broken because grandmother raised her. Literally, that is her mom that died, not grandma. But at 94, how could you expect stability at 94?
Meant to die someday.
So embrace it and ready for it. Prepare yourself for when abuela passes. Because when the stethoscope that I was going to give Austin, literally once you put it on, were you there that one day when I told everyone to put it on and listen to the heartbeat? No. Okay, well there was an exercise. Oh yeah, you were down at Bradenton. There was an exercise that I did to everybody. I said, I bought all these stethoscopes. I said, put it in your ear, listen to your heart. Because we were studying death meditation, and I said, you hear every beat? You're every beat closer to your grave. And when you analyze the millions and billions of beats in a person's life, you realize that they're closer to their grave. And how we spend each beat with anyone or with anything determines the quality of life that we have. I thought my grandmother was going to live to 100 because she was 80 years old and, just energetic, smiling, good outlook on life, could walk, could talk. There was no signs of anything, but there was something lurking in her heart, the coronary artery disease, meaning that tube blood flow is clogged. And it took one doctor to figure that out, and she passed every test, nuclear stress test, every heart test you can imagine to rule out anything dangerous. She passed. So after she died, I said her heart was playing games. That's how good that heart really was. It went through all of these scientific tests and no one knew about it. Furthermore, after she had the heart attack, her heart was continuing to play games in the ER. When she went in the ER before the heart attack, she was stable. Vital, stable. That's the only time I can use the word stable. Then it changed. Then it was no longer stable. But it fooled everybody in the ER because we came, and she was like, I don't want to leave you. And I'm like, you realize your vital is fine. They just hooked you up to every machine possible and you're fine. You're in a heart hospital. And my mom came and I walked out the door and I says, I'll be right back. She's right outside the door. As soon as my mom walked and got to the door of the ER room 7 or something like that. And as soon as I turned my head to tell my grandmother she's here, that's when she clenched up and the heart attack happened. And then she went in and out, CPR, in and out, heart stop, heart beats, heart stop, and it was just like, what kind of game is this heart playing with us? And pretty soon the doctor says, all right, well, it's been playing a little too long, and right now, even if we did bring her back, she's gonna have permanent brain damage. Probably gonna be paralyzed from the neck down. So, you wanna pull the plug, yes or no? I said, pull it. And then you know what? She decided she was gonna pull the plug herself. The doctor goes and try to pull the plug, and the doctor's like, I think she decided on her own already. So we're like, great, put the monks in there, let them chant. It's everything but stable. So this is why you see that the counseling is so important, right? This is why you see why I ask the questions that I ask. Because I'm trying to see how you view your life and what you're expecting out of life. Is it attainable or not attainable? Whether it is actually realistic, or not realistic. And again, and the evidence that you have about what I'm saying to you is just look at my own life. Look at the life of that gal that you did not get to meet. Every time when I invite you to go somewhere, there is something important there waiting to be discovered. And not just for fun and games. There's always a lesson in something if I ask you to come over. So again, next, because you were dealing with your own stuff, you probably were not on the same page. But you see, when Ty came today, you learned something. What did you learn about Ty when he came and shared stories?
I learned about his life story and how he dealt with it and how you taught him how to deal with things in life.
Happily. he dealt with it happily. There was his ups and downs. He reached out. The one thing that I want you to get out of it is that he reached out. When it hit rock bottom, he reached out. He did not try to deal with it on his own, because he can't manage it on his own. That boy is double your size, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, double your size. You've seen him with his tank top, right? You've seen that boy with his tank top. And you know it, but he knows when to reach out. And that's one thing that I don't want any students to like to just fold inwards and keep it silent and try to deal with it on one's own. And whenever I gave a recommendation in his life and he went against the currents, he lost everything. But it had to happen that way, because you know what I mean? He wasn't, he's 23, obviously he's not gonna, right? You say, don't touch the pot. It's hot, don't touch the pot. Guess what they're gonna do?
This spot.
That's right. But the pot that he touched, it burnt through and through everything. It was, and I'm trained to see that. I'm trained to see all the dangers in one's life. And I told him, I said, you know what? This gal right here, wait for it. It's coming. It's on the way. I've lived long enough to know and see. So, stories like Ty, you have to really absorb it in and prepare your life for it. Everything is a valuable lesson. And I gifted him, because he came down and the New Year's coming up, so I gifted him royally and generously for being there. And he was like, well, you're inviting me to come down, and so what's going on? And I said, no, Steve's going through that 20-year-old stage that we all went through. And I just want you to share your story about how you went through your 20s, how you dealt with the internal struggles of life. And I think he can learn a thing or two from it. So make no mistake, it costed me a lot. And he had to drop everything and come up there and look at the clothes he was wearing when he came.
Yeah.
You see that? To be energetic, present, fully awake, aware, conscious, alert, breathing, to bring the necessary stories for you to be inspired. To wake up from your sleep and, to be on the same path as everybody else that I'm leading. Any confusion?
No. Clear.
Anything else that bothers you that you want to address?
No. Just chilling.
Again, it's a gradual, slow process. And you know what? Patience is necessary. Just like muscles. You want the muscles that you want, like going to the gym? Does it not take patience?
Yeah, it takes a long time.
Yeah, and you can't rush it, right? No matter how much protein you drink and eat, right?
Right.
And you see the time, energy, effort, and money you have to put in. Well, I mean, what happened if you couldn't get in for free and you had to pay for it, right?
Yeah.
And you've been one ticked off little boy. This thing's gonna take years for you to develop the muscles that you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to know that you can lose those muscles within months if you don't keep up, right?
Yeah.
It swells down into bleh, big blob. All right, focus on that. I'll focus on my book.